Welcome back. Humble is not a word you should closely associate with President Trump and his inner circle.
We have a president who has done more in 3 weeks than most presidents have done in an entire administration.
The new president has started a lot of debates and policy shifts, and he signed more than 24 executive actions aimed at issues ranging from Obamacare repeal and the border wall to his travel ban. But signing a piece of paper does not guarantee the New Deal. Replacing Obamacare, for example, mired in congressional quicksand. Trump's fellow Republicans are openly opposed to the cost of his wall. Some say it's not really necessary. And the travel ban is blocked, as most of you know, at least temporarily, by the courts. Good for Stephen Miller. He's promoting his boss. But the president has done more in 3 weeks. I'm guessing Ronald Reagan would probably object to that, thinking about the Berlin Wall and all that. Bill Clinton might say 21 million jobs. FDR, really? More in 3 weeks than most administrations in history?
Well, look, there's only so much you can do in 3 weeks. And
so why not say we're off to a good start? We feel like we're off to a good start.
Because this kind of bravado, and I'm sure that they have their way of measuring it, which involves, numbers of executive actions, and that's one way you can measure such things. And then we can fact check that and say, well, actually, most of these are symbolic. These are sort of just pieces of paper positioning. And certainly they have signaled a new direction on
By that measure,
fronts.
I've won the Powerball 1,000 times. I've bought a lot of tickets, but I've never won.
They have set a lot of things in motion, and a lot of them look to be running up against the reality of governing, which is something that, Trump was sure he could sort of steamroll, right? That he could just come in there and knock it all down. And it turns out they didn't repeal and replace Obamacare on day one, and that has turned into a somewhat flexible promise. And I think a lot of these things that he promised to do, it's not that we can't sit here and say that they won't get done yet, but he's running up against reality that they can't get done immediately.
Right, and again, nobody could get these things done that fast. My question is, do they have the patience? Because he comes from a privately held business. He comes from a room where he's used his MO as he walks in a room. He says, I want this done, and it gets done. Maybe he has to shake things up first. Maybe it takes weeks, but he's not used to months or years. And when you see Stephen Miller saying things like that, and the president tweeted out that he loved it, but it's just, that's not based in reality. Now, that doesn't, again, you're right. They may get repealing and replacing Obamacare. They may get major tax reform this year. He's likely to get at least some version of his border wall if they can figure out how to pay for it. But to say out of the box when you know you're underwater and that the people who didn't vote for you are not signing on, to sort of get in their face and say, we have been more successful in 3 weeks than many other...
But that wasn't Stephen's job yesterday. I mean, his job yesterday was to explain and defend the president, and he's very good at that. If you covered Congress in the last 8 years, you know that he was Jeff Sessions' top 8 on immigration, and I would say at least twice, 3 times a week we would get some kind of memo in our inbox from Stephen Miller explaining why the ongoing immigration debate was totally wrong and this is the way you should think about it. It just so happens that that guy's now running domestic policy at the White House at 31 years of age. He did a fantastic job if you're Donald Trump yesterday. He did a miserable job if you're someone who believes in facts and reality.
Right, the facts and reality part. I want to just stop you for 1 second because we're just seconds away from listening. This is the White House Roundtable. We're going to listen to this tape right now. We'll continue the conversation on the other side.
Hello, everybody. Please sit down. Let me help you.
I'll let you go first. How's that? Really heavy hitters.
You have to be strong for these chairs. The cabinet room. Strong people.
Strong women. Strong women are here.
Strong women are definitely here. There's no question about that. Thank you all very much. This is a great honor. Very nice. I have recognized some of you. Great success. So important. I'm honored to be here with Prime Minister Trudeau, whose father I knew and respected greatly. And he gave me a picture of myself and your father. And what a great picture. I will keep that in a very special place at the Waldorf Astoria together. We're going to launch the Canada-United States Council for Advancement of Women Entrepreneurs, of which we have some of the great ones in this room, and business leaders. We have so many great women leaders around the table today, and we're going to go through your names and exactly because many of you I know, some of you I don't. I want to find out all about you. Women, as you know, and I can say that from my past life, I had so many women executives that were phenomenal, and really helped me a great deal in business. So that was really fantastic. They play a tremendously important role, women, in our economy. Women are the primary source of income in 40% of American households and households with children under the age of 18. In order to create economic growth and lots of very good, well-paying jobs, we must ensure that our economy is a place where women can work and thrive. And I think that's happening in the United States much more so. And Ivanka is very much involved in this, and I appreciate you being involved in it. And I know, Justin, in Canada, it's happening big league, and that's very important. We need policies that help to keep women in the workforce and to address the unique barriers faced by female entrepreneurs, and they are unique. We need to make it easier for women to manage the demands of having both a job and a family. And we also need to make it easier for women entrepreneurs to get access to capital. And I guess pretty much all entrepreneurs, we have to help them out because the system is not working so well for entrepreneurs getting capital, but it's in particular difficult for women. So we're going to get access to markets and access to networks. And I look forward to hearing your advice. We're going to go around the table, and I want to really learn something today. And again, it's a great honor to be with you. And Justin, I can say on behalf of our country, it's an honor to be with you.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Donald, for welcoming us. And I'm really excited about launching this. Sitting around table here with a number of successful executives who just happen to be women. One of the things that I've been lucky enough to do over the past year in New York and Beijing and across Canada is sit down with women CEOs, women executives to talk about both their successes and the challenges they're facing that are particular, but also how, of course, we create more paths to success for women across our community and across our society. Whenever I sit down with a woman executive, I know that she has had to overcome significant barriers that exist, and therefore is likely to have greater insight into help reduce those barriers for others, but also be a formidable contributor to the success of the business and her economy. So I think for me, it's not just about doing the right thing, it's about understanding that women in leadership positions is a very powerful leverage for success, for business, for communities, and for our entire economy. Alors c'est un grand plaisir de pouvoir vous écouter aujourd'hui, entendre les différentes perspectives et souligner le rôle important que les femmes ont dans la réussite qu'on va bâtir dans ce monde. It's a great pleasure to sit with you now and to hear from your extraordinary leadership.
Thank you very much. Well, how about we start with Ivanka? We go around the room. Ivanka, you might just want to say a couple of words.
Welcome, and I'm honored to be here. I'm really looking forward to hearing from each of you who serve as tremendous role models for me and so many other business leaders across both of our countries, and can lend some tremendously valuable perspective as we think about the unique challenges that entrepreneurs, women in the workforce, female small business owners are confronted with each and every day. And as we think about how we level the playing field for this generation and for the next. So thank you for being here, and I look forward to hearing from each of you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Dawn Farrell, and I'm from a company called TransAlta, which is located in Alberta, where you're going to build the Keystone Pipeline.
There's a big chunk of it, that's right.
So thanks for the opportunity to contribute to this important dialogue, and a dialogue that we've had for over hundreds of years. My company is in the business of making electricity. We generate electricity from coal, natural gas, and also from renewable sources, wind, hydro, and solar. We have operations in Canada, the United States, and in Australia. And really, for us to excel, we have to be excellent in operations, engineering, finance and trading, and we have to excel in the public policy dialogue that happens around energy. And I'll talk about that as part of today, because we've done some excellent work.
Okay, we've been listening here to the beginning of an economic roundtable at the White House, hosted by the President of the United States and the Prime Minister of Canada. Noteworthy that Ivanka Trump, the President's daughter and senior advisor, I believe it's the first time I've seen her at least speak in any extended way at an official White House event. She obviously is part of the President's effort to encourage women in the workplace. Let's bring it around the table here in terms of what we're seeing here. Not a lot of substance there, but an important moment for the two leaders as part of the getting to know you process. Again, they have some differences, especially on immigration, refugee questions. But here's an effort to sort of, hey, has to have common ground on the economic relationship between the two countries. Anything jump out at you there, whether in the remarks of the President or the Prime Minister or just the politics of this?
Well, as you were sort of saying, it's a well-managed event, and to the extent that Ivanka is involved in that, you know, it may raise her profile on the issues that she is working on. There has been some uncertainty about how involved she plans to be in the White House, and given that we know she has her father's ear at all times, she can sort of be as involved as she wants to be. And if she's going to do an event like this and it's seen as successful, that will presumably give her more license to do more events.
She is known during the campaign as someone, when she thought maybe he was out on a ledge or out in politically difficult territory, if someone would try to steer him back, a more moderating influence. I don't know if that's the right word.
Yeah, you know, a lot of people have said they have the Valerie Jarrett job, or that they were going to get the Valerie Jarrett job. I think Scaramucci is one of the guys who officially has the job that Valerie Jarrett used to have. But given her ties to the president, direct ties to the president, and the fact that she's burning up quite an expense bill at the fancy hotels here in town, having breakfast every morning with different CEOs, that's more of the Valerie Jarrett job, is talking to the business community, bringing them into the White House to sit for this. Remember, though, this is a common issue of concern for the Trump family, I guess, by extension Ivanka, and the Prime Minister. When he took office, remember, he said famously, half of my cabinet will be women, because half of the world's population is women, so why shouldn't they fill those roles? So there's obviously some common ground here for them to cover. Also interesting, two down from the president's right or left is Chrystia Freeland, our former colleague at Reuters, who's the Canadian foreign minister. Some say she may be a future prime minister of Canada. There's a person who will get a lot of phone calls when she goes back to Ottawa about how these meetings work.
Elevated in part because to deal with the Trump dynamic when he won the election, and she recently had a meeting with the Secretary of State that I'm told went quite well in terms of let's focus on the stuff that matters. And yes, we have some differences, but let's focus at least out of the box on the more issues that unite us.
So let's see what comes out of this meeting. Let's see what the follow-up is. But if you're Donald Trump, would you rather be talking about women, entrepreneurs, job creation, economics, and your business record, or did Mike Flynn talk to the Russians improperly? What are you doing about North Korea's missile launch and a host of other, and the immigration restriction order? Which one would you rather talk about? I think it's pretty clear.
So for all we say about they go off the rails sometimes, if you're saying occasionally some days they try to get the messaging back on track, I think that's what we see right here. Hang tight, hold that thought, Mary Catherine. Up next, a top White House aide repeats what even Republicans say is simply untrue.